Police say the shooting took place. It involved an officer, and it did happen inside the store. So you can see right now from this aerial view right here, a very heavy police presence. As you can see, there is some police tape. And earlier, as we were taking a look at this, coming into our live now from Fox Room, we did see that there was a vehicle where all of the doors and the trunk were open. It's unclear as to exactly what that car is or how it is connected, but we did want to share that with you. So right now, we do know that the Greensboro Police Department will be holding a press conference in just about 45 minutes where they are going to be sharing more information on this officer-involved shooting. At the moment, we do not have any information as to how that officer is doing or any information about the exchange of gunfire. All we know at this point in this breaking news situation is there was an officer-involved shooting at a Food Lion in Greensboro, North Carolina. And if you're familiar with the area, this was a Food Lion on Lawndale Drive. We do know, according to police, the shooting involved an officer, and it did take place inside the store. So that is all we know. We do not know how many people were involved, how many people might be injured. All police are saying right now is that this was an officer-involved shooting. But taking a look at this, you can see a chopper right there on the middle of this road blocking traffic at the moment. It seems as though officers are on standby. We saw many police vehicles there on the road, but there did not seem to be any sort of commotion. So this is a live look here from Greensboro, North Carolina, as there was an officer-involved shooting that took place inside a Food Lion. That is a popular grocery chain in that area. And taking a look, you can see that the helicopter right now focusing on the very heavy police presence on this road right here. And as the helicopter zooms in on the upper left-hand side of your screen, take a look at this. This is where the police tape is. There is a vehicle surrounded by a police patrol cars, and that seems to be the vehicle in focus right there. You can see that the helicopter right now panning over to it. You can see that the doors are open, that the trunk is also open, and that everyone is just kind of standing by. So it's unclear as to how this vehicle might be connected with the officer-involved shooting. It does not look perhaps as though someone is inside that vehicle. All of the doors are currently open. The trunk is open as well. And you can see the perimeter from that crime scene tape surrounding that vehicle as officers are standing by there on the road. This particular stretch of road right now being closed to traffic. And we did want to share that with you. As you can see, the opposing traffic is just slowly inching by. So it does appear as though the traffic on the other side is being allowed to continue at a slow pace. That indicates as though this is not necessarily a threat to the public, as police, of course, would have shut down all of the roads if they were fearful for public safety right here. But you can still see this vehicle surrounded by the crime scene tape, all of the doors open, the trunk open as well, as officers are standing by outside and also in their vehicles. We do know, according to our Fox 8 Fox affiliate, that they will be holding a press conference in just about 40 minutes or so to give more information about this breaking news, as an officer-involved shooting took place inside a Greensboro, North Carolina Food Lion. I also wanted to share this tweet with you. This is a social media post by the Greensboro Police Department, also indicating that they will be releasing details about a shooting that occurred this morning involving one of our officers inside the Food Lion right there. So we did want to share that with you as we continue to follow this breaking news. And of course, we're going to bring that conference to you as it happens. Once again, another live look right here at this section of road in Greensboro, North Carolina, as police have confirmed an officer-involved shooting inside a Food Lion grocery store this morning. mentioning that they will be sharing additional details in just about 40 minutes or so. And as we can see this live look from the helicopter right here, there does appear to be a vehicle of interest currently surrounded by crime scene tape. All of the doors are open, as well as the trunk. This is a police helicopter that has landed there on the side of the road. No commotion. Everyone is calmly standing by. So it is unclear as to why this vehicle is being surrounded, if it could be involved or connected in some way to this officer-involved shooting. We also do not know at this time, hoping to learn more at 3 p.m. Eastern time, how that officer is doing, how many people were involved, and what were the circumstances that led to this officer-involved shooting inside that grocery store right there. We, of course, are going to follow this breaking news for you right here on Live Now from Fox as we gather more information, as we do await that 3 p.m. press conference. In the meantime, we are going to step away for a 2-minute break, continuing our live coverage after that. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Stephanie Quinu. We continue to monitor some breaking news out of Greensboro, North Carolina. This is a live look right here. And in fact, you can see a police patrol car with sirens or lights flashing, just driving along what appears to be standstill traffic. This is a live look from a helicopter, as we have learned that there was an officer-involved shooting this morning at a Food Lion grocery store in Greensboro, North Carolina. And we were taking a look at this scene right here along this stretch of road as police have shut down part of the other side of the traffic. They have crime scene tape around one vehicle whose doors and trunk, they're open. And so that does appear to be a vehicle of interest. We do know, according to Greensboro police, that they will be holding a press conference in just about 40 minutes or so to provide more information. At this point in time, we do have a few details about this officer-involved shooting. According to our Fox 8 affiliate from Greensboro, North Carolina, The shooting involved an officer, and it did take place inside this Food Lion store on Lawndale Drive. That is all we know at the moment. We do not know what led up to this officer-involved shooting, how many people were involved, the condition of those involved as well. I mentioned this vehicle that appears to be of interest and perhaps connected with this shooting, and you're taking a look right there on the top of your screen. You can see the vehicle surrounded by that yellow crime scene tape. The vehicle's doors are open, as well as the trunk. We have not seen anyone get in or out of the vehicle. It's unclear as to whether the vehicle is unoccupied. It does appear to be so, as you can see that officers right now are just standing by around the perimeter, both on the road that has now been shut down and also perhaps in their vehicles. But this is a live look right here as we continue to gather more information about this breaking news. And as soon as we continue to receive more details, you, of course, can count on Live Now from Fox to bring you all of that information as it unfolds. We also have another situation that we're keeping a very close eye on. This takes us out to Brooklyn, New York, where we understand that in just about 5 minutes, there is going to be a perp walk for the suspect in the case of the woman who was set on fire yesterday morning. And so this is a live look right here. But if you're just joining us at the hour, I did want to share the very latest information as we are expecting the person of interest to be walked out by police officers. So we're going to continue to monitor that information. But I did want to give you the very latest. This is a look right here of the suspect, the person of interest. According to Fox 5 in New York, a person of interest has been taken into custody in connection with a woman who was set on fire. She died Sunday morning on a subway train in Brooklyn. All of this happening at around 7:30 a.m. The woman and the suspect were riding the F train to the end of the line at the Stillwell Avenue subway station in Coney Island. Police say that the victim was seated when a 33-year-old man, a migrant from Guatemala, who police have not identified, approached the woman and set her on fire with his lighter. Now, earlier we shared remarks from NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch, who said, quote, officers who were on patrol on an upper level of that station smelled and saw smoke and went to investigate. What they saw was a person standing inside the train car fully engulfed in flames. And so that is the person of interest, the suspect, as Fox 5 has indicated. EMS, though, pronounced the woman dead at the scene. And police have credited 3 high school students who called and recognized the suspect at a separate location. Now, police have said that the victim did not know the suspect. And as of now, the motive remains unclear. Police did say that there was a reward of up to $10,000 payable by Crime Stoppers for information regarding the incident. So you're taking another live look here outside the Brooklyn station as we are expecting police officers any moment now to be walking out the suspect in this case. So I did want to share that with you. It's unclear as to whether there's any sound, but I am going to raise the audio as we continue to follow this breaking news.
I'm gonna walk back over there towards that.
Yo, Pasha. When you come back, man?
I got to tell you about that later.
All right, so we do hear that natural sound right there from the photographers there on scene, but we wanted to share that with you as we are awaiting this situation right here. NYPD is set to walk out the suspect in the case of the woman who was set on fire right there. So we're going to continue to monitor this situation. We are expecting it to get underway in just a matter of moments. And so what we're going to do is, because of course we want to bring this to you as it happens, we're going to step away for another 2-minute break here on Live Now from Fox, continuing to monitor this live event. Stay with us. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Stephanie Quinu. We are continuing to follow two breaking news stories right here. A very busy Monday. This first breaking news story takes us out to Greensboro, North Carolina, as we continue to follow an officer-involved shooting. This happened this morning at a Food Lion grocery store in Greensboro, North Carolina. And this is not clearly the Food Lion involved in the officer-involved shooting. This is rather on a road on the left-hand side of your screen, and it's cut off just a little bit from this live look right here, but there is a vehicle that appears to be of interest, and you can see as it gets a little bit into view that all of the doors are currently open alongside the trunk right there as the camera pulls out. It is surrounded by crime scene tape. Now, we do not have much information about this, as police do say that they plan to hold a press conference in just about 30 minutes to provide more details. What we know is this. According to our Fox 8 affiliate in Greensboro, North Carolina, earlier this morning, there was an officer-involved shooting inside the Food Lion store. That is all we know right now. Now, the Fox 8 affiliate received phone calls from individuals who are inside that store saying that they heard several rounds of bullets. At this point, we do not know how many people were involved. We do not know the conditions of the people who were involved, and we do not know what led up to this officer-involved shooting. That is what we are hoping to hear when the Greensboro Police Department hold their press conference at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, where they do plan to share more information. As soon as that happens, of course, we will bring that to you and let you know. But this is a live look at what could be a secondary scene. This is from a helicopter. This is a live look right here, and you can see that one side of this two-sided highway is shut down while they are allowing traffic to appear on the other end. So I did want to share that with you. We're also continuing to take a look at more breaking news. Take a look at this. This is some breaking news right here out of Brooklyn, where we are anticipating the NYPD to be walking out the suspect any moment now, charged with setting a woman on fire. Now, this happened over the weekend, and the woman died due to her injuries. We do know that the person of interest, the suspect involved in this, who was taken into custody, is a 33-year-old migrant from Guatemala. Beyond that, police have not provided further identification. However, they said that the 33-year-old migrant from Guatemala approached a woman inside a subway system, sat down next to her, and then set her on fire with his lighter. So we are expecting him to be walked out by police officers any moment now. We're going to continue to monitor this. In fact, I'm just going to hang on this as we continue to follow this breaking news, as we are expecting this to happen at any moment.
All right, so it does not appear as though there is any audio, but I did want to just stay on this as we continue to follow this breaking news. While we wait for this live look, and we're going to put it up in a watch box right here, I did want to play out the very latest information from NYPD as they were discussing this case. And as we do await that walk of the suspect, which we will pivot back to as soon as it happens, I did want to play the very latest information with you right now.
This thing come out? All right, hello everyone. Thank you for being here. Initially, we intended to use this press conference to ask for the public's help in identifying and locating someone who we believe carried out one of the most depraved crimes one person could possibly commit against another human being. And it took the life of an innocent New Yorker. But at this hour, I am pleased to announce that a short time ago, alert NYPD transit officers took a person of interest into custody. I want you to know that this apprehension was another in what has become a series of joint efforts involving different crimes between the police and the public we serve. In today's case, we were able to get incredibly clear and detailed images of the suspect from the initial incident. Then we asked the media to broadcast those images far and wide so we could use the viewing public as a force multiplier. And New Yorkers came through again. It was just before 7:30 this morning when our person of interest and the victim were both riding an F train.
All right, so I did want to pivot, as it does appear as though the suspect in this case is being walked out right now. He is the suspect now charged in setting a woman on fire, and she later died from her injuries. And so this is breaking news right here as we continue to follow this. That is the 33-year-old Guatemalan migrant who was taken into custody, initially mentioned as a person of interest, but according to our Fox 5 team, now a suspect in this case. So I did want to share that with you, as this is a live look from outside a New York police station. This is specifically in Brooklyn. So officers right there walking the suspect out in the case of a woman who was set on fire yesterday morning in the subway system. And you can see that he is wearing a white jumpsuit. He is in the back of that police vehicle. They are now driving away from this Brooklyn police station. So we did want to bring that to you as it is happening live right there. The NYPD walking out the suspect charged with setting a woman on fire. That woman then later died from her injuries. And so we did want to share that with you. It was a brief look right there, as it was a short distance between the door, the exit, and the patrol car, but we continue to follow the very latest information. Before that, we were hearing from the New York Police Commissioner as she was providing the very latest in this and crediting the public for helping to capture this individual. In fact, crediting several teenagers, 3 high school students who called and recognized the suspect, leading to officers being taken into custody. So we did want to share that with you as we continue to follow this breaking news. All right, so I did want to play out the very latest information from Commissioner Tisch as she was speaking about this very case just earlier. Let's once again pivot to that.
Human being. And it took the life of an innocent New Yorker. But at this hour, I am pleased to announce that a short time ago, alert NYPD transit officers took a person of interest into custody. I want you to know that this apprehension was another in what has become a series of joint efforts involving different crimes between the police and the public we serve. In today's case, we were able to get incredibly clear and detailed images of the suspect from the initial incident. Then we asked the media to broadcast those images far and wide so we could use the viewing public as a force multiplier. And New Yorkers came through again. It was just before 7:30 this morning when our person of interest and the victim were both riding an F train to the end of the line at Stillwell Avenue in Brooklyn. As the train pulled into the station, the suspect calmly walked up to the victim, who was in a seated position at the end of a subway car. The suspect used what we believe to be a lighter to ignite the victim's clothing, which became fully engulfed in a matter of seconds. Officers who were on patrol on an upper level of that station smelled and saw smoke and went to investigate. What they saw was a person standing inside the train car, fully engulfed in flames. With the help of an MTA employee and a fire extinguisher, the flames were put out. Unfortunately, it was too late, and the victim was pronounced on the scene. Unbeknownst to the officers who responded, the suspect had stayed on the scene and was seated on a bench on the platform just outside the train car. And the body-worn cameras on the responding officers produced a very clear, detailed look at the killer. After the NYPD disseminated those images, 3 high school-age New Yorkers called 911 to say that they recognized the suspect. Other transit officers responded to that 911 call and also spotted the man wearing the same gray hoodie, distinct wool hat, paint-splattered pants, and tan boots, already on another moving train. Police radioed ahead to have the train stopped. Then, Transit District 2 officers boarded the stopped train and walked from car to car until they located and arrested the person of interest without further incident. The person of interest also was found with a lighter in his pocket. I want to thank the young people who called 911 to help. They saw something, and they said something, and they did something. This is another example of great technology and even greater old-fashioned police work with a huge assist from the public. Now, our Chief of Transit, Chief Joe Galata, is going to provide more specifics.
Good afternoon. Once again, we're here talking about the great work that the public does alongside our offices. A 911 call was received that this individual was recognized at the J and York Street station on the F line. Our transit sergeant responded to that location, met with these young high school students, looked inside the train, and saw an individual that he recognized from wanted flyers that we got out earlier. He confirmed that it was our individual wearing the same clothes and hat and radioed ahead. Our officers in District 2 stopped that train at Herald Square and was able to keep the doors closed, walk the train, and place this very dangerous individual in custody. This is amazing work done by the public and the police working together. Once again, someone saw something, we got it out through technology in numerous ways, and we were able to make a quick arrest on this nothing less than heinous crime that occurred in our subway system. Thank you. I'm going to pass it off to Chief Kemper from the MTA.
Thank you, Joe. Chief Galata. Commissioner. You know, I've been in conversation all day with the chairman and CEO of the MTA, Jana Lieber, as well as the president of New York City Transit, Demetrius Critchlow. And before I give some remarks, we all want to offer our sincere and deepest condolences to the family of the victim of this brutal, senseless homicide that occurred early this morning in Brooklyn. The MTA team has been involved, myself included, from the inception of this incident, working hand in hand with the NYPD to offer closure or get to a closure of this case. You know, just about a year or so ago, Governor Hochul funded a project to install video cameras in every single car of every single train in the New York City subway system. The chairman, Chairman Lieber, Demetrius Critchlow, took that and challenged their team at the MTA to get those cameras installed by the end of calendar year 2024. And as I stand here now, we're proud at the MTA to report that 100% every single subway car in New York City is outfitted with video surveillance on each train in the city. So that challenge was met, and, you know, just recognition and congratulations to the team at the MTA for getting that done. It was not easy to do. Today's brutal murder was captured on one of those onboard train video cameras. It offered detectives immediately answers to questions that they had. What happened? It offered them images of the perpetrator. It allowed them to take those images and release them to the public. And it allowed the public to see something and say something, and that's why we're standing here now reporting that an individual is in custody, a person of interest is in custody. So now we're calling upon the rest of the justice system to step up and do their jobs. There must be strong, swift consequences on this person, and I use that term lightly, who committed this brutal, brutal homicide. There is no room in civilized society for people like him to be walking around. Thank you.
All right, so that is NYPD talking about a woman who died after being set on fire. I wanted to share this video. Yo, bro. The ambient noise right here, but just moments ago, I wanted to share this with you. This is the suspect involved, charged with setting a woman on fire. And you can see this is a 33-year-old Guatemalan migrant right there being walked out. This happening just moments ago, and we shared that with you live right here on Live Now from Fox. But I wanted to share this with you once again if you're just joining us at this hour. This is the man that NYPD says and has charged with setting a woman on fire inside a subway station, saying that at this point in time, it does not appear as though he knew this woman, and the motive remains unclear. We do know that this man is a 33-year-old migrant from Guatemala, but beyond that, they did not identify him. But Brooklyn police walking him out just moments ago, and I did want to share that with you once again as we continue to follow this breaking news. You can count on Live Now from Fox to bring you all of the developments as they happen. What we're going to do now is we're going to step away for a 2-minute break here on Live Now from Fox, continuing to follow some more breaking news out of Greensboro, North Carolina, as there was an officer-involved shooting there. We're going to give you the very latest in 2 minutes. Stay with us. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. We are continuing to follow some breaking news out of Greensboro, North Carolina, where earlier today there was an officer-involved shooting. And I wanted to share this with you. This is a social media post by North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper saying, quote, "I am in contact with local and state law enforcement regarding the shooting involving a Greensboro police officer. We have sent significant state law enforcement personnel who are helping with the response." The very latest is that just shortly, in really just about the next 10, 15 minutes or so, Greensboro police say that they will give an update on the officer-involved shooting, specifying that press conference to get underway in just about 10 minutes or so. So we're going to continue to monitor this situation. At this point in time, not many details made available. We do know that earlier this morning there was an officer-involved shooting inside a Food Lion store in Greensboro, North Carolina on Lawndale Drive. Beyond that, it's unclear as to exactly what happened or how many people were involved, and also the conditions of the people who are involved. We are hoping to learn more at this press conference that is set to get underway. And as soon as we do have a live stream of that event, we will bring that to you here on Live Now from Fox. In the meantime, we're going to step away for our final 2-minute break of the hour, continuing our coverage after that. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox, and we do have this live look once again from a helicopter over what appears to be a secondary scene in an officer-involved shooting in Greensboro, North Carolina. The shooting happened inside a Food Lion store earlier this morning. You can see that there is a car that appears to be of interest, surrounded by yellow crime scene tape. The trunk and the doors of the car remain open. It does appear as though no one is inside this vehicle. As you can see, a large number of officers standing by, just waiting. We do know that there is going to be a press conference coming up in just about 10 minutes with Greensboro Police as they provide updates. Details are scarce at this hour. We do know that earlier this morning there was an officer-involved shooting inside the Food Lion in Greensboro, North Carolina. Beyond that, though, officers and police have not shared more information in terms of what led up to this officer-involved shooting, who specifically was involved, how many people were involved, and of course the conditions of the people that were involved. But I did want to share this look with you, as this is on a road right here with that vehicle that has been really surrounded by that crime scene tape, isolated, and all of the doors are open. Just a short time ago, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper sharing this statement via X, saying, "I am in contact with local and state law enforcement regarding the shooting involving a Greensboro police officer. We have sent significant state law enforcement personnel who are helping with that response." So again, that briefing set to get underway in just about 5 minutes or so. Oftentimes these briefings are delayed as law enforcement want to gather the very latest information and of course make sure that all of it is accurate. We are also continuing to follow some breaking news out of New York City, and I wanted to share this with you. This is a look Had some video of a suspect who is being walked out of a Brooklyn police substation. You can see the suspect right there. This is the man, police say, set a woman on fire over the weekend in a subway station, and unfortunately she did die from her injuries. Now, police have not shared the name of this suspect, only saying that he is a 33-year-old migrant from Guatemala. So this perp walk, that's what they call them, happening just moments ago. And this comes amid growing concerns over a subway safety. In fact, New York Governor Kathy Hochul speaking out about making the subway system safer, sharing all of that latest information with you. So as we do await this press conference, and I did want to actually share this with you, as it does look like it's set to get underway any moment now. This is a live look inside Greensboro, North Carolina, right there. We're going to monitor this live situation right here, but in the meantime, I did want to play out Governor Hochul's comments about subway safety. We're going to play that for you right now. Let's listen in.
In March, I stood with Mayor Adams and promised to do everything we could in our power to make our subways safer. And to deliver on that promise, we sent in 750 members of the New York State National Guard, some are represented here today. And we also added 250 personnel from MTA, state police. Now, recall that some people questioned that approach. They thought it wasn't necessary, thought it was an overreach. But I was watching the numbers like a hawk. And when I saw a spike, an aberration from where we have been trending downward in crime, we saw a little spike upward. I knew that we needed to quickly stabilize and ensure that we didn't start ending up in the wrong direction once again. A lot of people didn't think it would make a difference. And I'm incredibly proud of these individuals in uniform here with me today to tell them, no, in fact, it made an extraordinary difference. Thanks to our 5-point plan to improve public safety, subway safety, subway crime is down 10% just since last March. And only 2 years since the year 1970 have we had fewer subway crimes than we had this past year. Let me repeat that, so you can all tweet it out. Only 2 years since 1970 have we had fewer subway crimes than we did over this past year. It's clear to me, as I've heard from many people, that the presence of the National Guard has made not just a physical difference, but a psychological difference in how they feel about safety. When people see a person in uniform, NYPD, MTA Transit, even our National Guard, they feel more secure. Number one, it's a deterrent to those who would break our laws and threaten other riders. It's also gives people that sense of security that if they have a problem, there's someone there to help. With more people also riding the subway, and I want to tell you this, more people are riding the subway. These individuals are working hand in hand to keep them safe. You may or may not know this, but last Thursday we hit a single-day post-pandemic record of 4.5 million riders, the most any day since March 11th in 2020. Overall ridership is up another 500 this year over last. We're very, very proud of that as well. Now, I will say this. You'll never hear me say mission accomplished. We'll never declare victory. Because if there's a single crime on this subway or anywhere, it is a crime too many. I want to keep staying focused. And this time of year, you can see all the people on the streets as I walked over with their suitcases and all excited about their arrival in New York City. Where else would you rather be than right here during the holiday season? Between November and December, we're expecting about 7.5 to 8 million more visitors coming to our city, using public transit, taking our buses and subways, as well as walking our streets. We welcome them. We're excited they're here. But I want them to know that when they come through that turnstile that they will be safe. So today, at this particular time, with this higher volume of visitors and riders, I'm announcing an additional 250 more National Guard to be deployed to help support New York's Joint Task Force Empire Shield. This is the unit that protects our subways, our assets, as well as our streets. Members of the National Guard you see here are part of this organization. I'll be clear, this is not in response to a specific crime. We're not seeing a trend that's alarming, but it's about continuing a strategy that has proven its success and expanding it to protect even more people. That's what we do. Do whatever we can. There's one other initiative. We want to make sure there's eyes everywhere. The surveillance to make sure that people know that if something goes wrong, help will be there. Back in 2022, I directed the MTA to install cameras on every single subway car. I was told it would take some time in later 2025. Jano heard me when I said, that's too long. I want it immediately because people are feeling so anxious. I am really proud that as of today, 99%, 100?
100.
Did you just add a couple more? Okay. Okay, finished it off. We have 100% of subway cars are now equipped with cameras. That's extraordinary. And I want to thank everyone involved with that incredible effort. It sounds simple to do. We have thousands of cars, thousands of cameras, but it was a major undertaking, but I wanted it done as part of our initiative, the cops, more cops on the beat, more cops on the subways, our cameras, as well as care. We announced this. That was our strategy a couple years ago. I just want anyone to know, if you're thinking of committing a crime on the subway, we're watching, and you will be caught. As I mentioned, so many people are coming here during the holidays. I'll be wandering the streets myself. Hope to get over to Bryant Park, Winter Carnival, winter shopping area. I use a lot of shopping there. I'll be heading up to get my picture taken with my husband up at the tree. We love doing this. This is an incredible place. It's magical this time of year. But it all starts with the fundamental obligation to ensure that people who come here or those who live here every single day feel safe. And I'll never stop being grateful to the men and women of the National Guard, the State Police, MTA Police, and the NYPD for putting on a uniform, standing with us today and into the future. We're reinforcing the numbers to have that sense of security that every New Yorker and visitor deserves to have. So I thank all of them. I thank you for what you're willing to do for us. And at this point, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, someone who's as committed to improving mass transit as I am, and that is our MTA Chairman and CEO, Jana Lieber.
Thank you, Governor Hochul. Everyone at the MTA is really grateful for your leadership on this issue. You know, when I came to the MTA in this role, when you asked me to serve as chair and CEO, we had three main priorities. We were going to get ridership back, we were going to run great service, and perhaps most important, make sure the system not only is safe, but it also feels safe for New Yorkers. Since then, we've doubled ridership, doubled. We're setting on-time performance records on every service, commuter rails, subways, and we've made huge strides with this governor at the helm on subway safety. We have the support we've always wanted from the NYPD and all of the branches of state law enforcement. We have those security cameras. Do not pass over what the governor just announced. Not only do we have 15,000 cameras in the stations, we've had that for a couple of years, but now, thanks to Governor Hochul, we have a camera in every single subway car. Every single subway car, and the caliber of the video is extraordinary. We've also moved the station agents, what we used to call token booth clerks, out of the booths so they can help riders and be eyes and ears for safety issues in the station. We have hundreds of unarmed gate guards who are pushing back on the scourge of fare evasion, keeping those exit gates closed so people just don't walk through like it's a superhighway of fare evasion. And this has also been a Hochul initiative, we have mental health professionals surging the system to get the people who are suffering with psychosis and other mental health conditions out of the public space and into treatment, into real treatment. That is the joint MTA NYPD Scout program that you have funded, and it is making a difference. Listen, the proof is those incredible crime stats that you just mentioned, crime down versus last year, but the number I always look at is versus pre-COVID, and we are down 12% as of the beginning of this week versus pre-COVID. Now, even though the data is on our side, that the subways are, as a factual matter, becoming safer, public spaces in New York in general, and the subway is one of them, don't always feel as safe and orderly as we want them to. And that's why it's so important that we maintain the relationships and the collaboration that you see represented with these forces behind us and that you see in the subway every day of the week. Just want to shout out the new NYPD Commissioner, Jessica Tisch, an old friend, is committed to safety. Chief Galata is here representing her. NYPD, the former NYPD Transit Chief, Michael Kemper, has come over to MTA, and we are hand in glove with the NYPD, MTA PD, and State Police and National Guard. This is a really great joint operation. Listen, I'm never going to stop standing up for riders who tell us month after month what they want, and this is true of every demographic, every neighborhood, every income level. They tell us, you know what they want? They want to see more cops and more uniformed personnel in the system. That is what makes them feel safe, and the actions the governor's taking reinforce that. So we're glad to do whatever we can under the governor's leadership to make the system feel as safe as possible. And with the 3 ridership records we're seeing in the last week alone, Saturday, overall, on Friday, this past Friday, we had another 4 million ridership day. That hasn't happened much, but we've had 6 out of the last Fridays were 4 million riders. Friday is back. That's proof that the vibe that has been created about the subway being safer is making a difference in riders' minds. So let's celebrate that. So as I say, I always say to New Yorkers, the MTA is ready to take you wherever you want to go. Governor, I know you want to walk to Bryant Park and you want to walk to Rockefeller Center and all these places, but there is mass transit, and I hope we can add a fare or two from you and the first gentleman.
You got it last week, and we took the train down. We were on it a lot.
I know that your husband has become a pretty regular rider. We talk about it a lot, but I just want to thank you for what you're doing today and what you've done over the last couple of years to really make the subway system actually safer and also feel safer. Thank you.
Chief of Transit for the NYPD, Joseph Galata, representing the City Hall.
Good afternoon. I'm Chief Joseph Galata. I'm the Chief of Transit in the NYPD. When we take a look at subway safety, there are key components to it. And I'd like to thank the governor, the MTA, city leadership, and all the people standing behind me. We didn't get here by mistake. A lot of work went into what we're doing, and if you take a look at where we're at, it's a 6% reduction. That's an average of 6 crimes per day. Think about that. 4 million people ride the subway system, and we average 6 crimes per day. It's a small percentage of the city's crime. With that being said, how do we do that? We did it with the people standing behind me. We did it with the National Guard, the MTA police, TSA, the state police, all working together. The leadership up here being lockstep with each other.
We're listening here to officials over in New York City earlier today discussing the importance of subway safety. And this comes, as you just saw, we brought the breaking news yesterday of a man who has been accused, now in custody, of fatally lighting a woman on fire on a subway in Brooklyn. Thank you all for joining us here at Live Now from Fox on this Monday, December 23rd. My name is Corral Lahara, and I'll be with you throughout the next several hours to help guide you through the day's top stories and also showcase live events from across the country. We want to step away for our first commercial break, but when we come back, we want to touch on a situation unfolding over in Greensboro, North Carolina. We're seeing here that an update has just gotten started as police are giving a briefing, holding a news conference over an officer-involved shooting. We'll have more next. Welcome back here to Live Now from Fox, where I want to segue to a breaking news situation out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Taking a look here at some of the video that we just had moments ago. So this was the scene, as we know from our partners over at Fox 8, that a Greensboro police officer involved in a shooting that took place at a Food Lion in Greensboro today, according to the department. At 10:45 in the morning, Greensboro police say they got a report about a possible person with a handgun inside the Food Lion on Lawndale Drive. Just a couple of minutes ago, we saw these investigators on the ground gearing up for this press conference where we are hoping to learn more. Let's head out to these comments next.
Thank you for being here with us. First, we want to honor the life and service of Officer Michael Horan, who was killed in the line of duty this morning. Together, we are mourning Officer Horan, who was a husband, a father, a son, a friend, and much more to his family. He became a sworn officer with the department in early 2018 and served in the Patrol Bureau, District 4 on Squad A. Officer Horan was hired in September of 2017 to start the 103rd PBIC Academy. He was an excellent officer. He had an outstanding reputation inside the department and in the community. We ask that you please keep his family, friends, and fellow officers in your thoughts and prayers. Officer Horan responded to a call about a man with a firearm inside of the Food Lion in the 4700 block of Lawndale Drive. A shooting occurred inside of the store at approximately 11 a.m., fatally wounding Officer Haran. The circumstances of what led to the shooting are currently being investigated. Thanks to the help of multiple partners, the offender is in custody and there is no threat to the public. We will release more details about the suspect as the investigation evolves. Our department has requested the State Bureau of Investigation to be the lead investigating agency in this case. On behalf of the Greensboro Police Department, we want to thank all of our law enforcement partners across the state for your support and for your efforts today in quickly apprehending the suspect. We also want to thank our community for continuing to support our officers and their families during this difficult time. We will be sharing more information with media after the news conference with details about a GoFundMe as we've received multiple calls of overwhelming support from the community and law enforcement agencies across the nation. We plan to honor Officer Haran's life and service through that. At this time, City Manager Trey Davis would like to share a few words.
Good afternoon. I'm Greensboro City Manager Trey Davis. I want to take a brief moment to recognize our City Council members who are here in support today. Thank you to those of you in the media who have come out to cover this very sad story. Thank you also for staff members who are here present today to support, those of you who may be watching via stream. I wish I was here addressing under different circumstances. And to put it simply, we're heartbroken. I want to express my love and my support for the Greensboro police family, a family that I served along with for 17 years before stepping into this role. This is truly a family, but a family that has been tested today. I want to thank all of you ahead of time before we even go into the next few days for respecting each other as we work through this tragedy. Before we leave today, first and foremost, I would like for us to take a moment to think about Officer Haran's family during this time. Please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Think about Officer Haran's Greensboro family and the loved ones and those here in this city that support our police department. Thank you.
Right, so a short update there that we got from Greensboro police down on the ground as they are continuing to investigate a deadly shooting involving an officer. I want to go back to some of the footage that we had earlier on today, just moments ago, in fact, as we see the chopper footage there, aerial footage over in that area. We have learned from this latest press conference that it was in fact deadly. The officer involved in this shooting died as a result. Now, while we wait to get maybe more of an update a little later on today as they continue their investigation down there on the ground, we may expect to hear perhaps some more comments regarding the situation, perhaps more questions that are going to be asked from reporters at the scene. But according to our partners again at Fox 8, is that a Greensboro police officer was involved in a shooting that took place at a Food Lion in Greensboro on Monday. At 10:45 in the morning, Greensboro police say they got a report about a possible person with a handgun inside the Food Lion on Lawndale Drive. Greensboro City Council member Zach Finney was the first to confirm to Fox 8 that there was a shooting. Now, police say the shooting took place inside of the Food Lion. In a statement to social media that I do want to bring up to you right now, we do have some comments from the governor of North Carolina, Roy Cooper, and you can see he says this: I am in contact with local and state law enforcement regarding the shooting involving a Greensboro police officer. We have sent significant state law enforcement personnel who are helping with that response. So again, not much more to gauge from this situation. It was a very brief press conference that we got from investigators, as this is still developing and preliminary at this moment. But as soon as we learn more, we'll bring it to you here on Live Now from Fox. In the meantime, let's head back to that press conference that I was showcasing just before the break, before we segued to that update from North Carolina. And this is in regards to New York Governor Kathy Hochul holding a briefing earlier today with some of the media to discuss some of the safety concerns and also the protocols that are being put in place as we head into a busy holiday weekend over in New York City. This safety concerns the subway system down there across the state. So again, let's head back to some more comments from that briefing.
Just two questions for you here. One, you know, as you guys are increasing safety on the subway, at the same time, the MTA is looking to raise prices for fares. Just wondering, you know, as the goal of congestion pricing is to lower or encourage drivers to instead take the train, do you feel like a fare increase is right at this time? And then a second question for you, any news on the New Jersey lawsuits when it comes to congestion pricing?
Yeah, I can have Jano address the fare increase, which is just proposed today as part of a financial plan. But there is a long process of public engagement and the voices of the community be heard before that's a final decision. Is that accurate?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. We have ongoing lawsuits. One is before a judge in New Jersey right now. I will tell you this. I support congestion pricing at the price that I worked hard to get down, a 40% decrease from what had been set, which would have gone into effect, but for the fact we put our pause in. I said we'd get back to it. I knew we'd get back to it, and we did. And that lower price point still has not changed the position of New Jersey to fight this, despite, again, a 40% decrease. Now, we've made multiple offers to settle this lawsuit, very generous offers. Wish I could describe them to you, because you would say they're generous. I'm not at liberty to do that. But if you're one of the 80% of New Jersey residents who get stuck on New Jersey Transit or waiting an hour on a PATH train, or you want a nice new bus station, this is going to all be affected if congestion pricing doesn't go through. This is to improve the quality of service for New York residents, for New Jersey residents, for Connecticut residents, to give them the reliability and the improvements in the system, and hopefully to cut time off. And we'll be talking about how we can make the trains go even faster and more efficiently. So my view is this: to the 80% of New Jersey residents, stand up for yourselves, call your elected leaders, call Trenton and say, what are you doing? Because we're going to benefit from this tremendously. The small percentage that drive in, they benefit from a reduction of 40%, and we can talk more about that. But that's all I can say right now. But we are in negotiations, and I think people should be listening to New Jersey residents if you represent them as well.
All right, over here, Samantha Levin.
Sorry, there's
Sam?
just the second question.
Yeah, but we got so many people here, we got to move on.
So, yes, you just mentioned you were talking to New Jersey. We heard that you offered a lot more money for mitigation, and they balked. Are they negotiating in bad faith, do you think? And also, do you think that possibly because of congestion pricing, you may mitigate the fare increase that's expected next year?
The fare increase here, the 10 cents?
And yeah.
Okay, it's 10 cents. Okay, and that's not in stone yet. I was able to push off a fare increase already. So believe me, if I know how to stop something, I do it. So I'll just put that out there. There's already a record of that. But I also know how to bring it back when I need to. Okay. Okay.
But in terms of New Jersey,
In terms of New Jersey, are they negotiating? It does not feel like it's in good faith at this time. No, it does not. And I feel for the residents of New Jersey, those of you who care about the environment, who want to also ensure that there's not congestion in the city that they work in. They may put their head on a pillow in New Jersey, but they're part of our New York City workforce, and I'm proud to have their talents. And I'm sure it's a huge source of frustration for them that their own government is negotiating against their interests, because it's in their interest to get here quicker, more efficiently, more reliably than those who are in New Jersey Transit are having experience now. We're offering a world-class system that I have to keep investing in because of decades of disinvestment. I'm trying to make up for that. I'm also trying to reduce congestion in our city, one of the most congested on earth. I'm also trying to protect our environment. Those are important objectives that are met through the congestion pricing at the lower price point that I think is more manageable than the $15 was, because I'm all about affordability. It's not just for New Yorkers. New Jersey residents could benefit from this as well, and their voices really need to be heard.
Tammy Fashola back there from Politico.
Hi, Governor. Are any of these National Guard members being redeployed from migrant shelters?
This was already in place. We planned on this. We are closing shelters, but they've not closed yet. So, no, these are individuals that we're redeploying to bring into the Empire Shield system right at this time.
All right, we've got time for a couple more. Evan Simko-Benarski is here from the Daily News.
Governor, with all due respect to the Guard members and their service, the Guard are not police. They don't have the ability to effect arrests. They don't have that kind of jurisdiction. Empire Shield was stood up in 2001 as a counter-terror move. Why are you increasing the number of Guards members instead of the number of state police or MTA police?
I am very proud to be the governor of a state where I have at my disposal the National Guard to use in places where I think they're most beneficial to protect the people of this state. I made that determination last March. It had the effect we are desirous of, which is to reduce subway crime, but also to instill that sense of safety, that the statistics will never make anyone. I'm not going to say that the numbers I'm repeating to you today are going to make anyone feel better. I don't expect them to. We're all human beings, because you're going to see a cover story on your paper someday soon, maybe tomorrow, that shows one of the 6 crimes committed a day. 6 crimes committed a day. That's going to scare them. And fear is a really powerful emotion. So when someone sees an individual, one of these trained professionals, standing there, I can tell you, as a mom and as someone who talks to a lot of people around here, that they feel better knowing there's a strong, solid presence that's going to protect them and also to be a deterrent. That is a powerful, powerful tool. And if we weren't successful, I'd be coming up with a different strategy. But this one works. And I have almost 8 million more people in our city right now, which is exciting. But I want them to feel safe as well. They come into these subways, they see these individuals, and I've told them all, make sure you smile a lot, right? Wish them happy holidays. Give them a candy cane if you want. I mean, this is about just a presence. But if there's a problem, I guarantee they know how to handle it.
All right, Charles Watson's back there.
We're listening here to the question and answer portion of this news conference that was given earlier today by New York Governor Kathy Hochul, discussing everything to do with subway safety, especially as we head into this holiday season. And of course, we know that New York is going to be seeing some heavy traffic because of that. A live now look out there in New York City. We have quite a few top headlines coming out from the state that we will touch on throughout the day today. But first, I do want to step away for our second commercial break of the hour. And when we come back, actually, I'm going to touch on another headline that we have been waiting for quite some time now. A live now look at the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Earlier today, we saw the House Ethics Committee releasing its report on the investigation into former Representative Matt Gaetz. What we learned next. Welcome back into Live Now from Fox, where I want to turn our attention now to some big news out of Capitol Hill. I'm taking a look at some footage from former representative there, Matt Gaetz, as we learned that today the House Ethics Committee released its report on its investigation into the former congressman. The committee accusing Gaetz of, quote, regularly paying for sex, including with a 17-year-old girl, as well as purchasing and using illicit drugs while he was a member of Congress. The 37-page report includes explicit details of parties and vacations that Gaetz took part in from 2017 to 2020. Now, the findings concluded that he violated multiple state laws related to sexual misconduct while in office. Gaetz has denied all wrongdoing. Now, for more on this, we're joined by Jeanette Hoffman. She is a Republican strategist and president of Marathon Public Affairs. Jeanette, thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. So this investigation, Jeanette, I mean, it's been 5 years in the making. So these allegations have been out in the open for quite some time. But I'd like to ask you, is there anything that stood out to you in particular now that we see the findings from this report?
Yes, well, as you said, these allegations have been out there for quite some time. They've been trickling out as recently as, a few weeks ago when President-elect Trump had named Matt Gaetz to be his pick for the Attorney General for the United States of America. And so many Republicans in Congress and in the United States Senate said absolutely not because of these allegations that were out there. But, to me, when I read this report, I was struck by how much evidence the House Ethics Committee had collected in regards to text messages from some of the young women that Matt Gaetz had alleged to have paid for sexual activities and had, basically provided evidence that had taken place, up to 20 different times. Messages that included Joel Greenberg, Matt Gaetz' accomplice, who is currently serving 12 years in prison for sex trafficking. He was in a lot of those messages. So, the Ethics Committee did, accumulate a lot of evidence when they released that report. I was also surprised that Matt Gaetz took the step of filing a lawsuit to stop the release of this report because he is a private citizen and no longer a member of Congress. So it is quite unusual that the Ethics Committee did release this report because he's no longer a member of Congress. But I think that just goes to show how explosive and what a bombshell report this actually is.
So, Jeanette, you are a Republican strategist and you really do specialize in public affairs. You mentioned a little bit off the top there that Matt Gaetz earlier today, before this report was released, tried to block it. That wasn't the case. It was released anyway. What do you anticipate Gaetz' strategy is going to be going forward now that this is out there?
Well, if you look at his Twitter page, he is certainly digging in and he's denying that there's any criminal wrongdoing. He's pointing to the fact that the Department of Justice investigated these claims and they didn't charge him of any criminal wrongdoing. Like I said, they charged his accomplice, Joel Greenberg, for sexual trafficking for 12 years in prison, but they didn't charge Matt Gaetz. So he's really clinging to that fact. He's enlisted some of his allies on the Republican side in the MAGA world to retaliate against some of the members in Congress who may have had some accusations against them and some ethics reports that haven't been released, to release them. So he's kind of going on the offense as well. It's interesting, though, if though this is a smear campaign, as Gaetz says, he could easily file a defamation lawsuit against the House Ethics Committee for releasing this report. And then there would be a period of discovery. If he doesn't want that period of discovery, he would not file a lawsuit, a defamation lawsuit. So it should be interesting to see, where this goes. He was just at a rally with President-elect Trump yesterday at Turning Points USA, and he seemed to be really confident, saying he might possibly run for U.S. Senate in Florida. I think that's a really far-fetched idea, but to me, it seems like he's digging in and he's going to fight back against these allegations.
So a couple of points within your last answer that I do want to touch on. President-elect Donald Trump has really stood by Matt Gaetz' side throughout this entire situation. But what is the sentiment that we can see from the rest of the members within the Republican Party? Are we seeing more of division when it comes to a consensus as to how they feel as a whole about Matt Gaetz?
Yeah, Matt Gaetz is a very divisive figure. I mean, he was the Republican who led to the ouster of Kevin McCarthy, the former speaker. And it was alleged because Kevin McCarthy wouldn't stop this House ethics probe. So, he doesn't have a lot of friends in the Republican caucus. Senator Mark Wayne Mullins from Oklahoma was public on national television saying, Matt Gaetz is not someone you want around your wife or your sister or your daughter. House Republicans have said that Matt Gaetz is someone who's regularly showed them videos of him having sex with young women. He's a very divisive person in the Republican House caucus. When President-elect Trump had nominated him to be the Attorney General, he was one of his first nomination picks, and a lot of Senate Republicans pushed back very hard, and that caused President-elect Trump to abandon him as his nomination.
And then another point that I wanted to touch on, which you mentioned, just yesterday we did showcase how Matt Gaetz spoke at America Fest 2024 in Phoenix, Arizona. It was an event in which the president-elect, he spoke there as well. Given the fact that, this entire investigation has been ongoing, he has, removed himself from Congress, but we still see him in these political speaking events. Can we foresee that perhaps the results and the findings of this investigation would mean that Matt Gaetz is going to give up in politics as a whole, or is he going to continue?
Well, he's taking on a role right now that he's not going to give up, and he's digging in. He's going to, continue in speaking roles, and he's going to host his own television show on another network. We'll see if the network still wants him after this report came out. But for now, he is still going to take on a very public role. But we'll see where this all goes. Whether the state of Florida, the attorney general there, presses charges on the statutory rape, on the prostitution, on some of the other findings. That's within the realm of the state of Florida, the attorney general's office. Whether there are lawsuits from some of the alleged victims of this case, that could have an impact on his career as well. And whether or not President-elect Trump stands by him remains to be seen. So far he has, but the president is going into a very important time, and he needs all the friends he can get in this very close House, this, very slim margins to get things done. So, standing by someone like Matt Gaetz, who's a very divisive figure, might not be the best thing for President Trump to do right now. So, all of that to say that Matt Gaetz's future is very uncertain right now.
Finally, Jeanette, I mean, we have the conclusion to this report. It does not feel like a conclusion at all. It almost feels like the start of an entirely new chapter with this entire situation. So what do you really have your eye on going forward?
So, like I said before, there are a lot of different things that could happen, right? It feels like, it begs the question, why did the Department of Justice not press charges if all of these things are true? And there seems to be a lot of evidence that the House Ethics Committee collected. The other question is, will the state of Florida, will the Attorney General's office press charges? And the third thing is, will the retaliation against some of the House members that Matt Gaetz had promised, will that happen? Will this divide Congress even further? Will it cause even more chaos? I mean, Matt Gaetz is known to be an agent of chaos in ousting Kevin McCarthy as a speaker. So we'll have to see. I mean, it's a shocking report. It's very disturbing, and frankly, it's very sad for the young women that were involved in this.
Jeanette Hoffman, Republican strategist, president of Marathon Public Affairs. We do appreciate your time here at Live Now from Fox. There's still a lot more that we're going to get out of this situation, as you mentioned, just those top 3 topics that you have your eye on. So we hope to connect with you in the future.
Great. I look forward to speaking with you again.
Of course. You take care.
Thank you.
We're stepping away for a quick commercial break here at Live Now from Fox. So once again, a Live Now look out there at the Capitol building. This story is really not going away anytime soon, as we know that the House Ethics Committee finally releasing their report, that investigation into Matt Gaetz. We'll see how it pans out. We'll be right back. Welcome back into Live Now from Fox, where I want to continue to discuss the Health Ethics Committee releasing their report on the former Congressman Matt Gaetz. A tweet here on your screen from the New York Times. Breaking news, a draft House Ethics report concluded that Matt Gaetz regularly paid for sex, had sex with an underage girl, and used illegal drugs. Now, just before the break, I did have a conversation with a Republican strategist given this entire scenario. And a couple of the points that we touched on were the fact that just yesterday, Gaetz did participate and speak at an event with a President-elect Donald Trump. I'd like to play out some of those remarks. He does address some of these allegations. So let's watch.
I wanted quite badly to be your next Attorney General, and to be nominated by President Trump for that position was indeed the honor of my professional life. And I view it greatly as a validation of the choice that the voters in Northwest Florida made over and over again to send me to fight for them. But some things don't go according to plan. Matter of fact, one of my Republican colleagues said to me as I had been nominated, Matt, if you leave the Republican conference in the House of Representatives and go to the Department of Justice, we actually think you can improve the quality of both institutions. But I saw the writing on the wall, and that my nomination would cause a delay of the important work that we see ahead. And that is because there remain anti-Trump forces within the Republican conference in the United States Senate. And President Trump needs an Attorney General on day one. And I just assumed, when I withdrew my nomination, looking at everyone else who had been Attorney General, that I would be replaced by someone less attractive. But instead we got Pam Bondi, who is brilliant and lovely, who is talented and courageous, who is creative and bold. Pam Bondi will be a phenomenal Attorney General for President Trump. She has my support and all of ours, and we're going to do everything to see that the mission is accomplished. But the DOJ must change. It must end weaponization of our government. It must facilitate rather than frustrate the largest deportation in American history. It must stop the unlawful surveillance of our fellow Americans. And it must punish the companies involved in the transport, manufacturing, and distribution of fentanyl. And most importantly, on day one, the Department of Justice has to be ready to pardon the non-violent January 6th defendants who were abused by a two-tier justice system. Pam will do these things. We must get her confirmed, and as we look at these Senate confirmations, I must say, I think I moved the Overton window just a bit. The Senate must confirm Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr., and perhaps most importantly, my good friend for the next FBI Director, Kash Patel. Republican senators should be ashamed of themselves if they believe the Hillary Clinton lie that somehow Tulsi Gabbard is a Russian agent. I care far more that Tulsi Gabbard will clean up the deep state, tell the truth, and keep America out of forever wars. And while it is a little odd, I don't particularly care that RFK Jr. may have killed a bear or texted back a thirsty reporter. I care far more that RFK Jr. will stop big pharma and big food and big chemical companies from killing our fellow Americans through poison. And it is offensive to me that Republican senators want to tweeze through the life of Pete Hegseth when they haven't lifted a finger in many cases for the lives of the 8,600 patriots who were purged from the Department of Defense as the consequence of an unlawful vaccine mandate. I won't rest, Hegseth won't rest, and Donald Trump will not rest until those patriots are welcomed back with their full rank and back pay. Republican senators, we, the voters of this movement, will not accept the answer that you voted for Joe Biden's nominees, like Lloyd Austin, but refused Trump's. Politics will encounter more accountability these days. We just saw it last week. Last week, every lobbyist in Washington, D.C. wanted this 1,500-page bill to pass with billions of dollars in pork, with the funding of the censorship industrial complex, with the funding of bio labs and foreign aid that do not serve America's interests. They had all the wind at their back. They had backed us up against the Christmas break, and thanks to Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Turning Point and the millions of people who are mobilized on X, we defeated the bill of the lobbyists, and we are ready to march on with America First agenda. And the Democrats, they just don't get it. They continue to criticize Elon Musk as if he is acting in self-interest, when we all see that Elon is acting alongside President Trump in the national interest. And we have something now that we've never had before. We have the ability to lash the resources that Elon is committed to with the energy and the mobilization and the infrastructure built by Charlie Kirk and animated by Turning Point Patriots in chapters all over America. Many have asked which perch I will be fighting from next. And some of you throughout this conference have even given me a few suggestions. My fellow Floridians have asked me to eye the governor's mansion in Tallahassee. Maybe special counsel to go after the insider trading for my former colleagues in Congress.